How you doing, Noel? Welcome to the not podcast, but live session, I guess.
No, of course. Thank you for having me. I'm not doing too bad at all.
Awesome, man. So let's just get right into it. So I want you to tell the audience what was your story. What is your story? Who are you before we got into this mentorship, and just let it flow.
Yeah. So before I got into this, I was a very paranoid person. I had very little control over my negative emotions, most particularly my anxiety and my depression. Um, I felt very aimless, I knew what I wanted to do, but like finding the not really motivation, it's just more like the faculties every single day, day in, day out, of doing the little things, of building toward something tangible. It always escaped me, it's always difficult. I never had a lot of tools or anything like that in place to actually make me feel like I could pursue this and pursue it long enough that I wouldn't just fail and then hate myself again, right? And you try and it doesn't work, you try and it doesn't work. But yeah, before I learned these tools, right? Like before we started this program, I felt a lot different. Now I feel a lot more. It's like it's a weird sense of like just it's confidence, but it's like more than that. It's not confidence like a certain thing. It's almost like a confidence in your own ability to see it through. You know, regardless of what it would be, and whether that comes from the experience, of actually facing it, little by little through our program, or whether that's directly from the tools itself, I couldn't tell you. But either way, ever since the beginning, I think I've personally grown a lot as a person, like that
So
even I could see, the people around me could see.
so let's get into like the details of it. So before you came in, what was some of like the specific mental challenges you were dealing with? Of course, you don't have to share
Mhm.
every nitty gritty detail, but just so that they can get a picture as to what it is you're talking about. So what were some of like the specific mental blockages, the patterns that you were stuck in?
Mhm. For me, the biggest pattern I would get stuck in was the pattern of negative thoughts and then rumination over said negative thoughts, right? Kind of like a self-defeating pattern of I want to do this thing, right? Let's say, running for example, it's like I want to run. Um, then you set a goal that you think is small, but you don't meet it. So for you, it turned out it was a little high, right? Maybe I couldn't make that distance goal the first time around, and not making it, like the failure of that would then compound. It wasn't enough for me to like fail at what I wanted to do. It's like I'd have to come home and punish myself for it as well. Um, like I guess in a roundabout way to make me feel better, maybe to get through the pain quicker, to kill off that dreaming aspect of me faster. So and until he comes back up again. But as long as he's gone for now, then I have to think about it. If I don't want to get better, if I don't want to do better, achieve anything, then I can't fail, right? So that weird habit I had, of like pretty much setting myself up to fail, setting a goal that's likely too high, even though it might be small, even still it would be too high for me, and I would know that, like I would know that subconsciously going in because I'd already failed at this goal, and I never took the steps to do better at this goal. So why would I succeed this time if I didn't actually change anything from last time? And I knew I probably wouldn't, you know but you still try anyways, and then you fail again, and just being stuck in that pattern again and again and again. With most things I would try, most things I guess would find complicated or difficult in some capacity. um that that's like my best example of like being stuck in like a pattern and not understanding why it's there. And it hurts you, but it doesn't hurt you to the critical point where it's like I've got to go, to a therapist. I've got to go this. I got to go do that, and you can do that, of course. But like for me, that was like a main one, the main one where it's like, and then off of that spikes my paranoia, off of that spikes my anxiety, just like that, where it's not enough to just beat myself down. Now I've got to find some other reason as to why that's bad on top of it too, and it's
Because
just like a nightmare.
it was like the story, right?
Yeah,
Like we were stuck in a story. Like there was a certain way you have interpreted the world because the way
yeah,
you just were brought up, right? Like the way you were brought up, it sort of set a particular standard, and then over time, it just sort of became unconscious. Like we're aware of it now, but
yeah.
would you say that when we like started Like, would you say that it was something that you weren't consciously aware of? It was just more so like somatically stuck, like it was stuck in the body? Because you said that you kind of knew to some degree, but you felt impulsive to it. Like it had a
Yeah.
grip over you, it had a control over you.
Yeah, exactly. It's the type of thing where like, I can smell the rain, but it's not raining, right? Where it's like there's a pattern here, you
That's
know?
cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's a cool way to
It's like
say
there's
that.
yeah, there's like there's some like there's something evidently here. We can all, we can all sense it, not with all of our senses, but like we're aware, right? So it's like when you see yourself doing the same thing again and again in a similar way, yeah, you're gonna become aware. But like as for it being like a story, a story that like I would tell myself and reinforce with every time I would do it, and like the utility of that story, whether or not it was a good or bad story, even that story that holds me back from being, a runner or being this or being that, even it had some utility to serve me, just not utility that I want right now, right?
Hmm.
Understanding that really did change my entire outlook on the situation, and I don't think I would have been able to change if I didn't get that. If I didn't get that, right? It's like all I got was that I'm failing, I'm failing, I'm failing. And maybe somewhere along the line, I know more about this, than I think I do because I keep failing in the same way. And instead of stopping to analyze, instead of doing what I should obviously do, which is like, review, you know, look over your homework, stuff like that. It's like, no, I'm good. Let's move on. Let's move on. No, you suck. What do you expect? You suck. Move on. You know.
Yeah. It was such a repeated thing. And how
Yeah.
long would you say like into it? Like we spanned over like 6 months now. So what would you, at what point would you say that you were able to start to not just regulate the anxiety, but also start to actually gain a more wider consciousness of the pattern that you were in? Because the way we did it was we first had to gain awareness of
Hmm.
of the pattern. Once we can start to see it, then we can begin to interrupt it and then interject with a newer pattern,
Hmm.
something that can set the new standard moving forward. So when was that for you think?
I'd say for me, it was definitely around the 3 month mark,
I was
maybe
gonna
just
say that.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say that too. Yeah.
And it's like it was weird because like I could feel it earlier. It's like the confidence in like the tools, right? Um, like I'm sure we'll get into our exercises here in a minute, but it was like I developed confidence in the tools and their capacity to work. You know, um, I'd seen how they had bolstered my life to that point, even just taking the time to do like my nighttime reflections and stuff like that, and my morning mantras, even just taking the time to do things like that. I already seen it bolstering my life. I couldn't feel it, I couldn't feel it, but
Hmm.
I'm always slow on the uptake when it comes to that. But I do see, I do pay attention. So it's like I could see my life getting better because of that. When my like stress and anxiety would spike super hard, I could remind myself of the reality of the situation. That it's like you're doing better. You're doing better. So it's like if you want to hold this against yourself right now, be my guest. But I'm trying my best here. Like we're trying here for the first time.
Well, I just want to also make it clear to the people watching, like that was you. Like
Mhm. Yeah.
you, there was within you that said, I want to make this work, and you stuck to it. That was the
Mhm.
most important thing. Like, because I remember I said to you in the very beginning, I was like, just so you know, as we start to make these deeper changes, everything within you is gonna want to go back. Like it's
Yeah,
gonna want to
yeah.
go back. Like
It's scary and painful,
it
it's like
is. It's
yeah,
scary and painful, and it's use
not
to the
fun,
routine.
talking to yourself, confronting yourself, getting to know yourself. Sometimes you don't, like what you find and it sucks. You
Oh
find
yeah.
that, you are you feel like a loser and your whole history says that you're a loser. And what does that tell you? It tells you you're probably gonna be a loser, right? And then you have to actively put aside that thought. You have to tell that thought no. Like that's not necessarily true. I can be something better than that, you
Yeah,
know?
and that was a lot of you. Like I didn't force that in you. That was something that
Mhm.
you just within yourself felt compelled. Like I call the impulse to change, which once we started to make aware of everything, there's something that starts to kick in. Like there's some feeling in you. Tell me if this is right or wrong for you, but something started to kick in that I I think I can take back control. Like I see it
Yeah.
happening. I can
Yeah.
see myself
Mhm.
in it. Like you're almost like an observer to yourself. And then once
Yes.
you're the observer, it's almost like you have the controller in your hand that almost all of a sudden popped up and you're like, "Oh, I can actually start to influence my actions here." Right?
Yeah.
So would you say that was like kind of like the way it went for you?
I think so, yeah. It's almost like somewhere along the line you get like stuck in like a shock response, you just kind of get stuck with like your eyes open, and your mouth agape, and you're just wondering, you know, is it over? Is it over? Can I breathe? You know? And
Mhm.
then and then it stops, then the fear goes away, and then you just rest in the situation and realize, oh wow, I'm acting crazy. And right, where it's like, and you realize, like, at least for me, like, I realized how much, like, how much little negative behaviors I was letting slide all the time because I was choosing not to pay attention to them, right? I would say such negative things about myself in passing, like it was nothing. I've always been a pretty self-deprecating person. Um, that's how I'm funny sometimes.
Which is healthy. There's a healthy
Yeah.
amount to
Oh,
that,
of
right?
course. Yeah. Right. But it's like it's definitely a slippery
It's
slope
too
if you're not
much, yeah.
careful. Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause it's like, okay, okay. We're not the actual scum of the earth. Whatever.
You're just
you know?
talking shit to yourself all day long, yeah.
Yeah. It's that type of thing, or
Yeah.
like like with the running thing, right? Like messing up at something isn't bad enough. I
Tell
have
them
to
about
make
the
sure I
running
hear
thing,
about it too.
just so the audience knows what you're talking about with the running thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's not it's like, when you go, you set your distance mark, you fail, and then it's not enough to fail, you also have to, like, take it out on yourself and, like, pretty much just shit talk yourself, right? And I would do that so passively, like, in a smaller way over the littlest thing, right? But it's like nothing ever slides, almost like a bully, sitting on your shoulder, like, "I saw that."
Mhm.
I saw you," you know?
And so
"You did bad
now
again, what a surprise." Yeah, just to remind you, you suck, but
let's
yeah.
get into the details now. So now we can talk a little bit of what worked for you because all this is like custom, right? So every person, I
Mm,
have like my mold, but every person's unique and different. So it gets customized and adjusted to each person. So let's kind of get into the details now. Like, so let's start with the running one. So, because before it wasn't just, so just to extrapolate, the macro level was you were setting a particular target that was exceeding what you can probably do
yeah.
because perhaps part of you was just longing for something different to prove yourself wrong, to be like, no, I can be a winner. But because it's
Mhm.
such a high expectation from that heavy imbalance internally, you couldn't meet it. And then therefore you got into rumination. Oh, I knew you were right. And in some
Yeah.
way, like self prophesizing and fulfilling that destiny.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what was you tell them what the practice was that we worked on together, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so with that one, rumination it's a big one. God, that's a big one. It's like I've always had a really active imagination. I've always been prone to procrastination. So maybe for me, it's bigger than it would be for the average person, and I hope so because I would hope not everyone had to like has to feel that. That's rough, right? Where you have that one thought, that one negative thought, and it's just like what we do to make ourselves better, right? It's just like what we do to make ourselves better. It's the loop pattern, it's the story, right? But you get stuck on the negative one,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you just keep thinking about it over and over and over and over again, and even when you're not thinking about it, it's like passively going on in the background, right? That's subtly discouraging you from, like, maybe later on I was going to go do that thing, I was going to go try that
Mm-hmm.
thing, and you're already subtly throughout the day even talking yourself out of it, um which is insane, right? So to get over that insanity, I remember what we did was we had to catch and isolate the thought at the beginning, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much like the origin point of the thought, right? When we feel that emotion bubbling up in our gut, when we feel that little twinge of anxiety or whatever, that's when we take the time to pause. That's when we take the time to pause and observe, right? And we always approach it with curiosity, right? When I started doing that, it became harder to ruminate because now I'm actively in my head, like dedicating brain power to thinking about not doing that, right? To seeing myself and tell myself, don't do that, right? Yeah, so it's like if you can imagine, like, you're partying, you're at a house party, and like it's like a cartoon, you see the parent like swing open the door, and the music dies, and the lights go out, and then and everyone's like, oh, mind my business. Then the parent goes away 2 seconds later, the lights are on, the music is going again, right? So it's like I'm that parent, like
Yeah,
constantly
yeah.
breaking up the party, like stop, stop.
Yeah, that's funny,
Um,
man. Yeah, that's actually God, you're on today with your analogies, man.
no, yeah, cause like it, 'cause, you go away, and what? It'll start again. They'll just start whispering this time, like, anyways, and then you have to listen for that this
Yeah,
time.
hey, excuse me. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I thought I told you to stop that. Yeah,
So then
silly.
once we were able to start to interrupt the pattern, because I was telling when I tell people on the channel, or I say, as you start to cycle and spin, right, the rumination, it creates like a gravitational pull, so that anytime you try to like get out of that, you
Mhm.
feel it really like pull you back in. It's almost
Yeah, yeah.
overwhelming, and it's
Mhm.
like impulsive. You can't help yourself. Like you're almost watching your body do the action while you're going, why
Yeah.
am I doing the action? But you can't help
Uh-huh.
yourself.
Exactly, yeah.
So did you find that once we started to interrupt the pattern, once we start to catch it, and the context as to how we did it was specific to you based on your background and your story, but
Mhm.
once we started to interrupt it, did you find that over time the muscle to interrupt and catch became stronger? And then it just over time the repeated loops became weaker and weaker. They weren't spinning as quickly.
Yeah, it honestly it became very very habitual, right? Which is interesting because like it's hard, like at least for me, I always found it hard to visualize when you make like making like mental habits habitual, right? Like a mental habit, like a non-tangible thing. Like every day at this time, think this thought. People would say like, oh, take a minute to be grateful. Just talk about I'm grateful for my computer. I'm grateful for my cat. Just and that's mindful. That's being present, right? I always found that difficult to like visualize, conceptualize. But in practice, it's not that hard at all.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that in actually putting effort into stopping the rumination, I always had something to do. I always had a reason to like remember to try it, because it'll just be there, right, just in the background, just
Because
brewing, right?
because you can look at it as it's effort either spent ruminating because that
Yeah,
takes energy to ruminate,
yeah, it really does.
or
Yeah,
spend the energy to catch it. And then once we can catch it and we can interrupt it, then that's energy spent at least in a direction that's going to compound over time. And
yeah,
for me, like as I was, mentoring you, it was literally so evident after the 3 month mark. That's why I was like wondering where you thought it
mm,
started to really change. Because for me, 3 months in, I really start to notice a difference in everything, like the way
yeah,
you postured, like the way you stood. Like, do you remember when you first started talking to me? It was very like, very kind of
yeah.
like
A lot
rounded,
more of a sloucher, yeah.
yeah, low
Mm,
toned, like very low tone. And over time, things have gone like more like open. Like you've
mm,
literally somatically expressed a difference in the changes you've made, where like your
mm.
posture is better, you're speaking more clearly. I wish they saw you before. That's the thing. Like,
I know,
yeah,
yeah.
like, if
That's
they
the
saw
thing.
you before, it would have made such a like what a contrasting difference.
Mm,
And no, I told you so many times how proud I am of you for the amount of work that you've done, and because you had to apply it too, and that's the thing. Now let's have a little bit of fun with some of the extra
mm.
things too, like the dreams, because I'm a big person. I believe in dreams and the power of dreams, because we started dream journaling, and then
Yes.
let people know the impact of the dreams. Like, you could share one if you want. It's up to you. Uh, yeah, I'll let you take it off from there.
No, yeah, we started tracking that. It must have been, I think, like 3.5 or 4 months in, started
Yeah, we did
tracking
it
them.
later into it. Yeah.
Mm. That's been a really interesting experience to me. Yeah, a really interesting one. Me personally in my life, I never considered like attempting to glean anything from dreams or even like take the time to measure them. In doing so, I've realized that even if you have nothing to glean or you don't seek to glean anything from your dream, it is still nice to put active effort into recalling it. Um, I think it might help your like your short-term memory or something like that because like I have gotten better at it, like remembering the small detail, and that's actually like nice. Like at the very least, like I can like tell my family and stuff about my dreams or things. That's funny.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah, because like I
has
pay
interesting
attention now.
conversational
Yeah, but we
advantages.
also have like we've also gleaned a lot of interesting things from my dreams. Which I found surprising too. A lot of stuff where when we think about it and we dig into it, it resonates a lot with like my childhood. It resonates a lot with like my current lot in life. Um, I remember throughout the process we were going through, I had a lot of dreams where the context was being lost, the context was being like betrayed or confused.
Hmm.
Um,
There was a dream in particular I remember,
mhm,
that because your dreams in relation to the program was just when maybe we were making a change, like we were actually getting some ground, the dream would come in and almost try to like show the old you and try to get
mhm.
you to just question what you're doing.
Yeah,
And it
exactly.
was such an interesting thing. But we also had dreams where, and the thing is, I remember them because I don't know what it is about dreams, but they just stick to me a lot more.
Mm.
Where there was another dream you had that I was actually showing signs that were like, dude, we're going in the right direction.
Uh-huh.
Like the symbolism in that dream. I mean, it took some time for us to decode it as best we can because
Mm.
they're so cryptic, right? It took us, like, I remember, like, when we were talking, like, half an hour to 40 minutes just
Yeah, no,
trying
exactly, because 'cause we're
to
trying to be thorough, right? We're grasping at straws, anyways, right?
yeah,
But it's just
that's right.
whatever we can ascertain is for the better, yeah.
That's
And it
right.
was super fun allocating time to it. It was super fun because, like, even I was like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't think about it that way. That's really interesting." And, like, the human beings, we see the world and we live through stories, right? So it's like, it's no surprise that they're like, even my subconscious could whip together something so strange, and intriguing.
Well, now let's get into where you are today. Okay, so
Mm.
let's go into the changes that you feel today and how you've been feeling, and because I know you have a girlfriend now. I'm not saying the program gets you girls. Okay, that's just not the way it is. But it's just like it's
He's
just the
lying, guys. He's
like just
lying.
things have been changing for you, right? So you have a girlfriend now. Just go into however you've been feeling. Like what's happening with you.
No, yes, I've just been feeling a lot better. A lot better, a lot better, a lot more pointed, a lot more dedicated to what it is that I want. A small, an ironic, like, hiccup of that is that now I'm more upset by not being productive as or yeah, I'm more upset by like not making it, by not giving something effort, by not even showing up, than I am by failing at it. Now it's like, oh well, what are you gonna do, right? It's part of learning, right? So like little
Yeah.
things that like, in my life, sometimes you'll face failure in small little ways. And those small little ways, like I have a bad jiu-jitsu class, or I fail a run, or I didn't get to see, my mom, I didn't get to hang out with her the way I want. Let her down. Little things like that, they used to bug me way, way, way more than they do now. I'm a lot better at compartmentalizing them. Most of them I don't actually need to actually address in my mind. It's just like, okay, it's whatever, right? Which is funny too, because like you would think that, I don't know, something I've come to learn, is that experience only counts if you're paying attention, right? And it's like you would think that losing and losing and losing and losing would desensitize you to losing, and you would learn to stop caring, right? But that only works if you choose to stop caring about losing, right? Or if you
Mm-hmm.
learn something about losing that makes you not hate it so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
In reality, you'll just avoid it again and again and again as long as you live, right? You'll just live on the same pattern again and again. And it's that was surprising to me. That was surprising to me because now that I don't see it that way, right? Now that I see failure as learning, it's part of the process. That's okay. We're
Mm-hmm.
not perfect. Now that I've forced myself to see myself, to both validate and invalidate my previous perceptions of myself, where it's like, yeah, you are lacking in this aspect. We should do better. Actually, you're doing fine in that aspect. You should stop being a dick to yourself, right? Having to actually take count of it all. Now I can approach losing without a sense of pride. It's not woe is me, I'm the only one who ever loses, and it's not, screw everyone else. Why do I always have to lose?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I can actually approach it as like a human, like a person where it's
So you
like
hit the sweet
you're just
spots.
a dude.
So you're
Yeah,
hitting
yeah.
where you're feeling the impulse to grow and move forward, but then
Yeah.
also simultaneously when life happens and you're a human being and we misstep, we make mistakes, we blunder, maybe we get embarrassed, you're now able to like you're able to just
I
release
accept.
it.
Yeah,
Accept it
I
and release
accept.
it. That's like yeah, that's the holy grail of combinations, really. Because then you can
Yeah,
keep
no.
moving, right? You can keep going. Because then now you have clarity. So you have
Mhm.
clarity. You're having more purpose, and having those two things. Naturally, what ends up happening is people overcorrect, right? So they'll overcorrect
Yeah.
to where yes, now it's about being productive, and then if they're not productive, now they're like, oh man, I'm not productive, and it's
Yeah.
like it's the same thing, but in the equal
Opposite
and opposite
direction.
direction.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's just as toxic, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So you've actually managed to, as we've worked through it, get to the point where you're now feeling clarity, feeling purpose, feeling productive. Like you want to actually do this because that's your natural mode. You want to move towards
Mm.
something, but then also simultaneously being completely okay with things not going your way during the
Yeah.
process. That's
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
exactly, right. It's like
That's
it's just part of it. And obviously it's like, yeah, we know this, but it's like it's a I can't possibly put into words what it is to feel it,
mhm.
right? To not only know it, but like to like it happens and you're not coping. It's like,
Yeah,
no, 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 it's really okay. Like it's okay. Get up, it's okay. You're good.
yeah. That
You
must be
know?
freeing, eh?
Yeah, it honestly is. Yeah, to feel that way, right? I've been a person throughout my life who has understood. many things and never once experienced them or felt them, right? And I accepted that for a long time. Um, but like through this process, I'm coming to understand there's a lot more things that I'm not okay with not having experienced, right? And this feeling is one of them. Like true acceptance of one's failures. It's okay. It really is okay. Um, I'm starting to understand that. I'm starting to see it in a different light. It's starting to hurt again whenever I slip up and like shit talk myself for no reason. And I haven't felt that in a while, and that's interesting, right?
Isn't
Because
that
like
crazy?
it really is, isn't it?
Because
Yeah.
you're
That's
human,
a
right?
strange
So
thing to say, right? But yeah, it's like, no, it hasn't hurt me for a while because I've been so used to it for a long time,
mhm,
right? And it's starting to matter to me again where it's like, no, that's not true.
mhm,
You shouldn't
yeah,
make a habit of lying to yourself for no reason. So take that back, and it's like and like I'll like have to stop myself and say no.
and you
Like
engage
what you
with it.
just said was a lie. Yeah. If one thing feels true, but it's not true, it's a lie. So take it back.
That's
Right.
amazing. Because
Yeah,
then what's
everyone doesn't hate you. Everyone doesn't this, that, and the other thing, right? You're lying. You're lying. And you're spitting in the face. You're spitting in the face of everyone who would go against that truth, right? How could I say that everyone hates me when like you're right here dedicating your time and energy, creativity, and attention to like bolstering me and like we're spending this time and we're learning together and growing together. All that and you hate me? I doubt it, right? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so the story yeah, because the story starts to change, and that's really powerful too because what's more important here is that you're becoming self-dependent, right? So, like, you
Hmm.
don't need like, once we go over the lessons, the goal is once you give you the practice and you apply the practice, you can now apply it yourself. Like,
Yes.
like, you
Yeah.
can just do you don't need me, right? Like, that's the most
Right.
important thing because oftentimes in these sort of spheres, like, they can get very dependent or that rather the coach or a mentor wants to have more dependency where the
Yeah.
people have to stick to him or her. And for me, it's like, okay, let's show the technique, let's show the process, build your own custom inner world, inner psyche formula to
Hmm.
decode yourself and detangle things. And then once you learn it, like off you go. Like that's not you
Yeah.
can do it yourself. Of course, it's always welcome for people to come back, right? But
No, of course, yeah, but yeah, I guess the intention would be that we don't need you anymore, that we
Mhm.
never need you. We want to come back, but we don't have to,
Yes,
desperately come back. Yeah, exactly.
that's awesome. So more clarity, more purpose, peace of mind. Like your mind's not racing anymore. And even when it does, because we're human and
Mm.
things can happen,
No, of
you now
course.
have the tools to kind of get it to quiet down. You deal with it with curiosity, love, compassion, and a firm hand without being self-critical about it. And life's moving forward for you, which I
Yeah.
remember you said to me was scary, right? Like
Mhm.
that's what you were saying. It was frightening because it feels so foreign and new. And
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
really
what the
does.
hell is going on here? Why am I feeling good? And it starts to go into the narrative of like, do I deserve this? Like, is this
Mhm.
what's supposed to happen? Yeah, that was an interesting conversation. But
Yeah, no, 'cause it's rough, like everything everything feels like it's super fast, right, when you're not used to it, right? It could be the smallest thing, but if you've never seen it before, it's super foreign and out of left field, and you're confused, right? And that's what it's felt like a lot for me, where it's like I'm just doing normal things, just taking like normal strides in life, but like even taking the strides, taking them, confidently and they're not failing, taking them in quick succession. All of that, it's like, yeah, it's a little overwhelming, but in a good way. It's been a long time since I've been overwhelmed in a good way. Overwhelmed by the good things, in my life, the positive prospects. And also the knowledge that should they start to dwindle or go away, like I do have faith in myself to be able to pull myself through it, right? At the very least, keep my mind about me, keep an open-minded disposition towards succeeding, toward finding some good in the storm of bad. Um,
mhm.
and that's nice, right? Because like there's been a lot of times in life where, like I'm in a dark place, and it's like and that you don't think I hope nothing bad happens, but it's like I'm in a bad place.
Yeah,
Like it would be a shame
yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
life tested me right now. I'm already in a yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I might do something crazy, I might quit my job or something, and it's like and now I'm in a worse place, right? Um, yeah, so
Well,
nice to not feel like that storm is on the horizon, to not feel like I'm, okay, here's today's rations. Now we can worry about tomorrow's rations. It's like, no, I've got rations for a week. Let me, worry about
that's
getting
right.
something to lay my head on now.
That's right. Well, Noel, awesome, man. Thank you very much. This was great. Appreciate you sharing your story with the community here. I'm sure a
Of
lot of them would
course.
resonate with you and relate to you. Um, I wanted to reach out to you to do this first because I just felt you would. I don't know. We've always had a really good click. We've really
Yep.
resonated well together, and I always felt like your personality and everything about you would really shine through, and really help a lot more people. Right?
Thank you.
Awesome, man. Okay, well, thank you again. Thank you again for very much for being here. I'll see you on
Of
our next
course.
session.
All right. Thank you for having me, Professor.
If this video resonated with you and you see a lot of Noel's challenges in your own life and you want to break those patterns, take back control, bring clarity, peace, connection to soul into your own life, click the second link down below, apply for my mentorship program. I only accept 2 people per month just because of how intensive and emotionally demanding this is. And for me, I put all of myself into it, 100%, custom fit my program to each person. And if I had too many people on board, I just would not be able to deliver the results that I know I can. So click the link, apply now, and I'll see you on the other side.